Well, good day everybody, this is Chris with the Ancient Scholar, and I thought I'd do a very different kind of video, and that is a bike maintenance video, specifically talking about disc brakes. So if you are wondering how to do basic disc brake maintenance, this may be an interesting video for you. Definitely a departure from the normal kinds of content I put on this site. So here you can see, got my brake, and I'll demonstrate something for you. Look at that. So it's a very boggy brake. I'm having to pull all the way down to get it to bite at all. This is the rear brake here. So clearly there's something going on, and more than likely there's probably some air in the line. It's been about 6 months since I've done any kind of brake maintenance. I just put in new pads, so I have brand new pads in the back, and so I have this boggy brake, so something's going on. And more than likely I've got air in there. I need to take care of that. So I thought I'd do a video on bleeding the brake, and bleeding is a way of getting out air and putting in new brake fluid. So this is a hydraulic disc brake. This is a Shimano SLX brake. You can see there's a hydraulic reservoir here, and then the hydraulic cable goes all the way over here to where I have pistons that push on pads, and then those pads push on this disc here. So it's a somewhat analogous to a motorized vehicle. So I thought I'd just take you guys through the process of bleeding a Shimano style brake. This technique will work on SLX, XT, XTR, pretty much all of the contemporary Shimano disc brakes. There's another brand called SRAM, major brand called SRAM. The technique is very different, and some of the equipment is different as well. Okay, so let's take a look at some of the equipment that we're going to need. So we're going to need what's called a bleed kit. That contains the syringe here, this little cup with a little seal that goes in the cup. You're going to want your brake fluid, and this is very specific brake fluid. This is mineral oil. Shimano systems are designed to be used with mineral oil, whereas SRAM uses DOT fluid. Also going to need a 7mm, see if I can focus in on there, you go, 7mm wrench. I just have some wires in case, and I'm going to need these little hex keys here as well, and I have the specific size that's needed for the Shimano brakes. A little bit of alcohol, just rubbing alcohol, and a clean cloth to wipe things down. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so step one, I'm going to go ahead and use my Allen key or my hex wrench. I think Allen key is the more appropriate term. I'm going to loosen where the brake mount is here, and I'm going to move the brake mount, and I'll probably have to move my shifting mechanism as well. So let me do that real quick as well, loosen that. And then I'm going to move all of this up like so. So you see how it up right here. All right, there we go. And then what I'll do is I will just tighten this back down at the brake. Whoops, sorry, I'm doing this all one-handed. I'll tighten the brake back down, but you can see how I have it moved up, and it's now flush with the handlebars. Okay, now that it's flush and secured back down, I'm just going to go ahead and use my Allen key here to open the reservoir up. All right, there we go. I'll be really nice and careful there. There's should be a little O-ring. See if I can zoom in on there. See the little O-ring there. You want to keep that let's see if I can focus. There we go. You see the little O-ring there. You want to keep that O-ring on. You want to keep a count of it the whole time. So we will set that down there. All right. Okay, the next step, I'm going to take this little cup here, make sure there is an O-ring. There we go, maybe. See the little O-ring there. And I'm just going to want to screw the cup in, and I'm going to be very careful not to cross thread it, and just hand tight, not very tight at all. All right, got the cup there. And the cup is on. Now I'm going to put mineral oil in the cup there. Don't want to fill it up completely, just a little bit. Now I'm going to put about 15 or 20 milliliters of mineral oil in my syringe here. You don't want to fill this syringe completely up. The syringe is full of oil and all the air is out of it. So at this point, some people may opt to take the rear tire off, and if you do that, what can happen is the pads can come together, and that can be really problematic because then you kind of have to push them apart, and you can potentially damage if you don't do that right. And so if you do take the tire off, some people recommend putting a bleed block into the space to prevent that from occurring. I'm just going to keep the tire on for this part here. So, okay, so you've got your little port here, and the syringe is going to attach to this port, but I need to crack this port open, so I will use my 7mm wrench to crack that open about 1/4 of a turn, and we'll attach the syringe. Okay, I now have the syringe attached. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull back on the syringe, and I'm going to pull bubbles. You can see there's some bubbles already coming out of that there. So I'm just going to pull back on that. You see I've got a lot of nasty, contaminated looking fluid coming out of there. Now, you see that this cup has gone down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little more mineral oil in this cup here. There we go. So I can continue to pull back here and just flush new oil through that system. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop here, and I'm just going to tap this and see if any bubbles kind of come up through here, just to make sure that the system is clear. All right, looking good so far. Pulling back some more. I'll just kind of keep doing that, watching my levels here. Okay, so I finished the bleed. So you want to put the little cap in here that seals the cup up, and then we'll go ahead and disconnect. We'll tighten the bleed port and pull the syringe off, and then we'll go ahead and take this off after it's been plugged, and go ahead and put the bleed port back into this as well. Okay, so bleed complete. All I need to do is I'm just going to spray everything down really good with alcohol, clean it up. You don't want anything on any mineral oil on your rotor, any contamination. Spray and clean this up, and as you can see, look at that. Feels much nicer. So there we go. That's how to bleed a Shimano style brake.